Wall Street legend Mohamed El-Erian joins us now to kick off our Fast Masters series. Mohamed, thanks so much for being our first Fast Master. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're showing your book, by the way, The Only Game in Town, Central Bank's Instability and Avoiding the Next Collapse. I want to get to your Fed call. Most people were saying one hike this year. You're saying not so fast. How many do you think?
So I think definitely one and maybe as many as two. I think the markets have priced the Fed almost out of the equation, and I think that is wrong.
So what happens, I mean, from what I understand, June is on the table in your view. What happens to the markets, do you think, if we get that hike, especially if the markets are not thinking that there is a possibility of a June hike?
And that's an argument, Melissa, I hear often, which is the Fed doesn't lead the market leads the Fed. And therefore, the likelihood of a June rate hike is de minimis. I hear that argument all the time. I also hear the argument there was a miss on the job creation at 160,000. But let me tell you a few things. When you look at the internal of the job reports, good wage growth, hours worked went up, and the indication of slack in the labor markets came down. Secondly, this is a Fed that wants to normalize, and it learned from last year that you shouldn't miss windows of relative market calm. So if the market status calm, you're going to see the Fed starting to manage expectations. And I think the probability of a rate hike in June is not below 5%. I think it's higher than that. Is it predominant? No, but it's certainly higher than what the markets have priced right now.
Mohamed, it's Karen. Let's say we see that hike. What do you think the market's reaction will be?
I think you're going to see a few things. I think stocks will sell off. I agree with you completely in terms of this is the time to take some money off the table. If you are in credit, this is the time to trade up in quality. We have been in a massive range-bound market. We have come off the top, and we have to remember February 10th wasn't so long ago. Second, another reason to be careful here is the growth prospects for the global economy remain challenged. You know, the market sentiment tends to go all over the way on China, but the growth numbers have been pretty consistent, have been coming down for the global economy. So I would say be careful on the stock side if they do hike, and the dollar will strengthen.
Okay, so let's walk through the year, Mohamed. Let's say they do hike in June or sometime sooner than what the markets are expecting. We see this sort of volatility sell-off in stocks. We have a rise in the dollar. What happens come November? Let's say Trump is elected. Jeffrey Gundlach told the New York Historical Society last week that that could mean a global growth scare that could last as long as 2 years. Are you in that camp? Is that a risk in your view to the markets?
So I think it's too early to say what would happen because Mr. Trump's views evolve. Just look at his views on U.S. debt. So they evolve over time, and his mindset is changing from being very corporate-driven to being broader than that. So I can't judge as to his chances of winning. I can't judge what happens to the market. But I do know that politics is underpriced. We have yet another government in Europe, Austria, that has fallen because of anti-establishment movements. They are strong. They complicate governance. The market hasn't priced that in. So beyond that, there's sort of the political risk. The one thing that I want to mention that may stop the Fed from hiking is the Brexit risk. So if the polls favor Brexit, which they're not right now, the Fed would be more careful than it would be otherwise in June.